in a competition that Arsenal has never won before. The last time they went to the Champions League finals was 2006, and 20 years later, they finally stamped their ticket for the Champions League final in Budapest after knocking out Atletico Madrid at the Emirates Stadium. And it seems like the pieces are all falling together with Manchester City tying midweek to Everton, and Arsenal keeping a lead up in the league. And you're asking yourself, is the double still on? Can Arsenal win these two trophies and finally wrap it up? Because the league is almost pretty much done. And the Champions League semifinals, they do have a big monster facing either PSG or Bayern. But still, this is a huge accomplishment from Arteta's men to be able to get into this final in so long. Yeah, Arsenal went with the same lineup they used against Fulham that watched them batter Fulham 3-0, having the midfield combination of Rice, Lewis Kelly, and Eze. And that combination, it seems to be the key, and they found it. With Rice playing more as a deeper six, Miles Lewis Kelly playing as the 8, and Eze as the number 10. And it's been moving swimmingly. And Miles Lewis Kelly, today's game, he was really good today. But even back at Fulham, I thought he was one of their best players that game. But today, I want to say man of the match goes to Rice. The way he broke up play, almost conducting the midfield from the deep lying position, dragging up the offense, and even on the defensive side, doing a lot of work. And this was probably, one of Rice's better games. And we know why he's the captain of the team. And I want to say, I want to give like a round of applause to Gyökeres for all the criticism that he got today's game. All that was needed left for him was to get a goal or an assist, but the amount of work that he put in, running the channels, holding his own against the defenders and hold the play, allowing his team to come up to the pitch and him just knocking it off to the side. He was a trouble to handle with from minute 1 till 90 to the defenders. And the goal scorer on the night, none other than Bukayo Saka. Who else would do it for them but Arsenal's captain? And once his emergence came back against Fulham, you saw the way how he's creating chances for his team early on. Even the last leg against Atletico Madrid at their stadium, the few minutes that he came on, he beat his man many times, Ruggeri, getting 3 dribbles on the night. And even today, he was a very good from the first half, and even later on to the second half, once he got substituted, I thought, why is he getting substituted? He's been playing amazing, but maybe he would have got injured later on in the game. And yeah, he picks up his goal off a Trossard rebound. Once Trossard picks up the ball, fires it into Oblak's path, though it takes a deflection. Saka is, the most closest player there and the most alert player there, getting ahead of Lenormand and Ruggeri to just tap it into the net. And that's all Arsenal really needed. They didn't really have to do much at that point because from Atleti's standpoint and from the way that they were pushing about, they had Griezmann, at the false nine, at their striker role, but yet he's had to do more contributions in defense, which he was doing good. We've seen the new transformation of Griezmann becoming a two-way player, getting a little more on the defensive side as well. And even at the World Cup, we saw him do it there too. And I just felt like there was never enough chances created. And the one chance that Griezmann found himself brilliantly in, he laid it off to Marcus Llorente, where I thought that situation right there, Griezmann, you have to shoot. You are within 20 yards of the goal. Why are you laying it off? You have to take that shot. And it's just many Atletico players didn't perform. And oh man, I want to say Lookman. This was probably Lookman's worst ever performance in an Atleti shirt since he's come in. He's been a revelation since he's come in. Giving a new spark up front. But today was just a horrid night. I don't know if the fireworks that they set off at the hotel disrupted his sleep because he looked like he was jet lagged. He looked like he was still back in Serie A playing because this was a very terrible performance. Probably a real quick night to forget. And even though there were parts of the game where he wasn't really involved, he didn't really see much of the ball. But when he did get the ball, he's not decisive in his actions. He's lackadaisical. He's losing the ball, and he just didn't really create much or really offer anything in attack. And for Julian Alvarez, We knew he was already playing with a knock. He hurt his ankle the previous game against Atletico Madrid. And coming into this game, you're thinking, could he be healthy enough? But he had to be substituted off early in the second half. And it's just a real shame because quality players like him, the one player that is a game changer for Atletico Madrid, a maverick from Real Madrid, a world class player that can change the tie in an instant, was the one that had to get substituted off. And the replacements that came on was, three of many: Molina, Baena, and Sorloth. And oh my goodness, how Sorloth, how Barcelona makes Sorloth look like he's Haaland, look like, hey, he's a machine every single time they play against Atletico Madrid. I don't know how, because without Sorloth doing what he did to Barcelona, we could have seen Barcelona versus Arsenal. But this is what we got. Arsenal, I mean, Barcelona couldn't handle Sorloth, but Arsenal could. And it was just pretty easy for Gabriel. He loves the physical challenges, dragging down Sorloth many times, and arguably the best chance of the night for both teams falling into Giuliano Simone's hands. It was a lofted ball in the air, headed back by Saliba, falls into his path, and Giuliano Simone takes a flick over Raya to the left. And all he needs to do is just swing your boat with your right foot. But he tries to take another touch, well, I look like believe, or hit it with the outside of his right foot. It's already positioned for you to just swing your body and have a go. And he ends up doing it, but there was a man behind his back the whole time, and that was Gabriel. And you're thinking to yourself, did Gabriel get a touch of it, the ball? But no. On the video replay that we saw, did it look like Gabriel hit his calf, foul him from behind, and the referee and the VAR team don't signal towards the referee at all to go towards the monitor and he even have a look at it? So you can say Arsenal, they got away with this. They got lucky with this. But either way, Atletico Madrid, they didn't create enough chances whatsoever. And once Griezmann had come off, once Alvarez had come off, and we assumed, Lookman was going to be their guy for them. But once he came off as well, nothing really happened from there. Alex Baena trying to conjure up something, a few distant shots, and even Molina, a few efforts where he wanted to line it up and shoot, but it just wasn't in his favor at all. And where do we go with this, Atletico Madrid, project with Simeone? I can never see Atletico Madrid sacking Simeone due to how much success he's been bringing them in since he came back from since he's been to the club since 2011, 2012, consistently getting them third, second, and I believe twice first place, winning the league, and even a few times getting to the Champions League final, only to be ruined by the hands of Madrid and Ronaldo. But I don't know if we saw with Atletico Madrid they wanted to be more adventurous this year, become more attack minded, not this defensive juggernaut that we've seen, back in the 2013s, 2015s with Miranda and Godin. And, we saw Simeone trying to have more ideas come into play, but can he take this team to win the Champions League? I'm not sure if he can. And only Simeone will know whether he still is with Atletico Madrid next season or not, because they're not going to fire him for everything he's done for them. But then again, he is the most highest paid manager in football, but he hasn't won a trophy yet. One hasn't won a Champions League yet. And let's go into Arsenal. First time in 20 years. They're about to win the league. And wow. Their two opponents can either be PSG or Bayern. And with Bayern, I feel like they have a better chance. They have a way better chance playing with Bayern, getting results, and even beating Bayern last year. And if it is to go to Bayern, I believe Arsenal will win this Champions League final and finally lift it up for the first time in 20 years. But if they go against PSG, I don't think they have enough to stop PSG from scoring goals. Because with the fluidity of the attack in the midfield, I'm not sure if they'll be ready whatsoever for them. And PSG have beaten them in the past as well. And I don't think they'll be ready for that. But to the Arsenal fans, be happy that you guys got here. First Champions League in 20 years, on the cusp of getting the double, possibly double. Well, the Premier League is already in your hands, but If you like everything, guys, please subscribe to my channel, Mohammed Bin Sports, and we will be back for the game tomorrow in the semifinals. Take care.